Hi. This is me, Jen, with a bun. Going to have a conversation with Rabbi Rahel Kobrin. Here she comes. I'm excited to see her. Rahel.
Hi,
Hi.
good to see you.
It's good to see you. Thank you for talking to me today.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me. Um,
Yes.
so we were sort of uh, talking about the state of the world.
Yeah, so I'll just let people know who they're kind of probably wondering what we're doing here because I don't do a lot of random live kinds of things like this. But Rabbi Rahel Kobrin and I were on a Zoom together in 2020, and I was really moved by a prayer that Rahel offered and asked if we could stay in touch. And I feel like over the last couple of days, I'm just really wanting to hear from our spiritual leaders, our thought leaders, and to, I don't know, it just feels like once again, the world is upside down. Once again, it's unprecedented times. And, Rahel and I are both mothers, and you can't help any of us. You don't have to be a mother to think this way, but of all the children ripped out of their beds, out of their schools, out of their lives, we see the little babies in the NICU just in makeshift bomb shelters, and you can't help but think about what this means for them. So really, this isn't about me. I really would love to talk to you, Rahel, and see what you're thinking. How do we go forward?
Yeah, I mean so I'm sort of holding two concepts in my hands right now. One is that I've been looking at those pictures as well and seeing these families in subway stations, not sleeping in the night, and thinking about how these parents speak to their children about the realities that they're dealing with. And then thinking about, just months ago, right, Afghanistan and the Taliban, and people locked in their homes, people hiding, consistent hiding. So on one hand, it's that idea of fear, and that idea of the fear that we feel. We've been bombarded, even as Americans in the last 2 years. It's COVID, it's Afghanistan, it's COVID, more COVID. Now COVID is letting up, maybe, we hope, and now war in Europe and Ukraine. And I think the reality of feeling the fear, that's real. And being able to be in it, that's very, very real. We've been scared a lot in these last years. But being brave isn't about being fearless. Being brave is about feeling the fear and acknowledging our own vulnerability and moving forward anyway. Moving forward with that fear and having the courage to move forward and try to make a shift. So that's like one of the pieces I'm feeling. And just knowing that sort of, I talk about the bombardment, and there's like literal bombardment happening right now, right, in Ukraine, like very physical. Ours is sort of maybe more of an emotional bombardment. So that's one hand. And then I'm thinking about this other piece. So there's a Jewish teaching from about 2,000 years ago. It's not up to you to complete the work, but neither can you desist from it. The work is enormous, right? Like, you and I are not flying to Ukraine to try to end this, and nor could we, nor would we, right? And yet, the work is there, and we have to be a part of it. We're not permitted to say no, like, I can't do anything, I'm going to throw my hands in the air and say, like, I'm helpless. We're not permitted to say that. We have to say, the work is great. I may not be able to solve all the world's problems, but I have to make a dent in them. I have to do something. And I think that's where it comes down to, looking for chances to help. And one of the things that I've been, so last night NPR had something on just an article with a whole list of organizations that are helping on the ground right now in Ukraine. So there's one way, but there's also just the simple way of expressing love and kindness to the people who we are with, right? Doing acts of loving kindness in our lives regularly, daily. There's a ripple effect. Like, we are all interconnected, and yes, it's so far away, but there's also pain here as well. And each time we can reach out with our hearts, reach out with our hands, reach out with our intellects, we have the capacity to make a difference. Sort of what I'm holding.
You think that it really does, us being kind to each other here can raise the vibration of the world? You really do believe that there is a connection there?
So I do believe that kindness has a ripple effect. I do believe that on some level, you know, when I pray, and we will do a prayer today. When I pray, I'm not thinking about a supernatural interventionalist God. I'm thinking about quite a natural experience that happens. Like, when I pray with you, when I pray in a room of people who are singing together, when I pray knowing that there are people who are probably on this Instagram Live today and hopefully praying with us, you know, I think it impacts us. I think it impacts how we naturally can make a difference in the world. It gives us hope, right? Like, there's something about having hope and continuing to have hope. And so if we believe that on some level each human being has an interconnection, then there has to be that ripple effect that happens when we treat each other well, when we're kind to one another, when we try to, even in our smaller universe, and make a difference, knowing that there's so much pain in the larger universe. I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, I do think so. I do think, I'm just thinking of the times where I've been to somewhere that needed, somewhere where there was disaster relief, or where there was need for humanitarian aid. And certainly that's happening in Ukraine and in countries surrounding Poland and Romania, places where, you know, people are fleeing to, and that you always expect to see the tragedy on people's faces, and I'm always surprised and shocked by the joy and by the connectedness that you feel instantly, because when all else fails and you really are in a mess, something opens up in hearts, and it's just about connection. And that's just
Right.
I'm not as articulate as you are about it, but that has been my experience of it. No. So I do believe that connection, that kindness, however our fear of the world we can interpret through love for each other, people around us. I do feel like it matters.
I think you're very articulate. So my community is a welcome circle through HIAS for an Afghan family, which means that we are helping to resettle them here in Denver. And one of the members of the family is a teenage girl who left her parents behind and came with her siblings. And she knows that she may never see her parents again. And her parents knew that too, letting her go. And I mean, we were both mothers. Like, this is the hardest thing to ever imagine. And also, the biggest gift of love in life that her parents gave her, because the choice was being a girl in Afghanistan, not going to school, and not knowing what that future would bring, and knowing that the future would probably be horrific, or letting her go to America and have a future. And so I watched this family as well, like the pain of leaving their family behind. And also, she started school in Denver, right? She's on her feet in Denver. And it's similar to what you're saying, like, people are more resilient, right? Like, on some level, when we are faced with true catastrophe in our lives, we have the capacity within ourselves as human beings, as natural human beings, to garner, to create a sense of resilience, I believe, that gets us through. But it takes, like, that kindness, that connection, that human connection is a huge piece. I mean, this family, I am learning so much from them. So they think that we're giving to them and helping them. The reality is we are learning so much from them. They have changed my life.
Always, yeah.
So yeah, it's hard. Look, it's not a science, right? And it's not like if I help somebody here in Denver, does that have a real impact on somebody in Ukraine, right? You know, not physically, right? Like, I'm not, you know, of course, right? And yet, if we believe in goodness, and if we believe in light, and if we believe in the notion that like we're not praying for a light to shift us, but we're praying that we can be a light, that we can create a light through our lives, then it's got to have an impact, because we impact everybody around us. And like, you know, ideally this conversation has an impact on somebody. Our relationships have impacts on us. And so when we feel hopeless, when we feel helpless, I think that's what we need to galvanize that strength, that sense of like, of what can I do to make a difference here and now. And that may mean giving to an organization that is on the ground, really making a difference, exactly like what you're saying. And there are many of them. And I saw that Save the Children is on that list as well. And it also might mean just being more conscious of how we treat people where we are in this moment.
Well, Save the Children is there, and I'll have more to say about that later. But I feel like maybe if you don't mind, leading us in a prayer, or whomever
Absolutely.
wants to.
Yeah. And I just invite us all to be present with wherever we are right now, whether that's, you know, grateful for what we have, grateful for who we have in our lives, and also feeling that connection to those who are yearning and those who are really deeply suffering in this moment. And to know that there are more of us praying together. This isn't just me in my house, you know. This is me and you and anybody else who is connecting, and that it's community. It's that circle of love. It's that love that creates the world that we want to live in. And so knowing that we're with others really makes a difference. Source of life, source of hope, source of love. May we have the courage to open our arms and our hearts to those who are struggling. And may we have the wisdom to know that we too need to be embraced in this moment, that we need to be held, that we too need to be supported. May we not be shy. May we not shy away from our own human vulnerability. And may we also own and express our incredible power, our gentle power, and use that power for good. May we find the language to ask for help and the words to soothe and comfort others. May all who are hiding, who are scared, who are grieving, may all who sit or stand or lie in harm's way in this moment, may they be kept safe from affliction. May they know that people many miles away, right here, are holding them close. In a world that is struggling, a world that is swirling, a world that is tumbling, may we not lose hope. May we not lose hope. May we trust that it is in the darkest moment of the night that the light breaks through. And that with that light, a new day is shepherded in. May we help to form that light. May we each trust that our acts of love and our acts of kindness, no matter how small, help the dawn of a new reality break upon this very world. We say together, Amen.
Amen. That was just what I needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making time and space for this and inviting me.
I really appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you again, Rahel. Take care, everyone.